Good evening once again. Your boy James Amporekun, and I welcome you back to today's edition on the James Amporekun show. On the topic sexual harassment. Yes, harassment. Um, for some time now, this topic has been in the public domain for some time now. People don't like to talk about it, but it is going on every day. And at our workplace, deem it appropriate or reasonable to discuss this topic. So with this one, I'm just to do it in the presentation form, and then in the coming week of this, I'll be taking it from the interview perspective. People are going to share in their experiences and what have you. So basically, that's what I'm going to do today. I also like to express sincere gratitude, and my friends and my aunties, and then everybody who has shown, support in what I'm doing with my colleagues. God bless you all. We are into this together. So with this one, we are into this together, and this to also help Ghana. Yes, I do appreciate everything that everybody is doing. So sometimes we even, see messages in your inbox, maybe new people you don't I just want to tell you that what you're doing is very good and keep it up and what have you. I do appreciate everything. God bless you, and we are continuing. We are going to do this job. So far as we've started to finish it. The name of the Almighty God. Yes, thank you. I don't want to waste much time. Today's topic. In the course of the presentation, you can do a call in. Okay, you can. Via WhatsApp, call, send a message. Through experience. If you counted this situation out to discuss, okay, have you ever been sexually harassed before? How were you able to overcome all those stuffs? So in the presentation, you can do a call in, all right, after everything done the presentation. But if you want to express your opinion via a text message, all right, you can leave it at the comment section. Okay, you can leave it at the comment section, or you can pass it through my WhatsApp. Okay, as shown on the screen, or you can wait for me to finish. When I've finished, I'll open the call line so that I do a call in for us to have a voice. Conservation. Thank you so much, and I also like to say that I am live on you at James Amporekun. So please visit my YouTube channel, like my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then comment on my posts. Want to, but share any time you go through, my, yes. Thank you. So without wasting much time, I say, well, so without wasting much time, I'll just um go straight to today's topic and start straight away. Start straight away. Yes. 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 I just want to um give you the flyer. Yeah. Yeah. So and do the calling. Send your messages through WhatsApp by the number just on the screen. If you want to call in, just finish the presentation that you call. But if you want to send in messages via WhatsApp, you can send it to the number as I'm teaching. All right. You can leave it at the comment section. I'll see everything and also answer you appropriate. Yes, 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 yes. So I have to just start the presentation. All right. I have to start. I have to start. For joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. I am most grateful. Yeah. Okay. Let's start. Let's go this way. Okay. Yes. So start. Yes. So please, I've already stated. We are going to discuss sexual harassment. So how do you say, why this topic, James? This topic. What is the essence of this topic? So what you say that this topic, a lot of people go through at the workplace, at school, or any other place that you find out. Okay, go through this situation. That is not to say the guys or the men don't through the same situation. We do go back to such situation. It's not up. So I deem it appropriate reading to discuss this topic. Subsequently, we're going to have people who are, how they were able to overcome. So you are not at the wrong place at all. 40 minutes or 35 minutes and then out of your way. So question that we have to look at: what conduct is considered be perpetrated by someone of same sex? Is it peculiar only to bosses or supervisors? All right. If yes, you're going to get yes, I have an outline of how it is going to be. Okay. My PowerPoint is not responding. Okay. So whilst I'm waiting for my PowerPoint to run out, I'd like to also remind you once again that if you're not YouTube channel yet, I beg your pardon, just go and then subscribe to my YouTube channel rather. I will beg your pardon to go and subscribe to my, because I'm also streaming live on YouTube and then filming and at the same time. So if you're unable to join me on Facebook, you can do same by YouTube. Yes. And if this is your first time coming, I do you to the James Sampurekun show. Today's topic is premised on sexual harassment. Okay. And this is how the topic is going to be discussed. All right. Yes. So we're going to talk about what is your understanding, okay, of sexual harassment. Okay. What is sex, and then what then is sexual harassment? Elements of sexual harassment, types of sexual harassment, and then forms of sexual harassment, prevention tools in case of sexual harassment, corrective measures to ensure that harassment does not recur after you've been able to report and then deal with it. All right. And then I'll have to look at the summary of all what I've said, the presentation, summary of it. And then you look at, basically I wanted to bring in this one. If there are a lot of engagement in the course of a presentation, we're going to have sexual harassment test, maybe if you are willing to answer, at the end of the day, I'll give out some gift to people who are on the page to answer these questions, and if you answer it correctly, I get to know. Then we have our conclusion, remarks. All right. Yes, that is how the presentation is going to be. Um, so, one may ask, all right? What is so when you talk about harassment, I try to say it from the word go. What is sexual harassment? Because there are two things, or there are two words that comes together for us to get this topic on sexual harassment. So first of all, I want us to look at what harassment is. Okay, and then harassment may be defined, okay, as an irritate or a torment, persistently meted out to an individual or any other person. So it is the consistent, irritational or irritational behavior, okay, that is meted out to a neighbor. Okay, yes. So you are doing something to somebody consistently, persistently, continuously that the person doesn't, but you are okay with it. That is what is meant by harassment regarding the sex. Okay, that is the general understanding of it. Okay, yes. Um, then we have to move on to also look at what is having to look at what harassment is. Okay, so that we are now combining what is harassment is with what sex is. So sex basically is the intercourse between male and then female through the female genital, and then but if you are to combine it together, I will also do like to issue a caveat at this preliminary message that this topic I'm just going to mention where, all right. Yes. So be on alert. All right. Yeah. So what is sex or sexual harassment? Sexual intercourse rather. What is sex or sexual intercourse? Because we're going to talk about sexual harassment. First of all, look at what harassment is. Sex is. All right. Sex basically, without defining it, intercourse manner can also mean that whether you're a male or a female. But in this circumstance, I'm looking at it from the act, okay, not a name of it. So sexual intercourse is penetration of a penis into the vagina, also known as vaginal sex or sex. Are you getting it? So whenever there's any act which conforms with this definition, there is deemed to be sexual intercourse. All right. So now you know what harassment is, and you know what is. Okay. So the penetration of the penis into the vagina, and so which is also known as the vaginal or sex. That is the hate sexual intercourse and what have you. Okay, so having to look at these two key elements of what sexual harassment, what constitutes sexual harassment, you move on to the next stage, okay, which is what sexual harassment. Okay, what then is sexual harassment? So it's defined, okay, per the Labor Act, all right, 23 at 65 at section 175, okay, section 175 of the Labor Act 2003 at 651, sorry, okay, defines, okay, as any unwelcome or importunate sexual advance or request made by an employer or superior officer or a co-worker, worker is a man or a woman. What the Labor Act has defined sexual harassment to mean. I mean, as what is the Labor Act? Maybe if you're not, the Labor Act is basically the act, okay, relates employer and then employee relations and what have you, okay, in the so it also has to do with not employing children and what. So basically, it has to do with employment issues in the and then the employee. Okay, so section 15. When you talk about sexual harassment, this is a very serious matter because under section 15, okay, of the Labor Act, to talk about the ground upon which a worker may terminate his or her contract based on sexual harassment. Okay, so if you are being employed by somebody in a company, okay, and the person makes sexual advances, okay, or unwelcome and then offensive sexual request to you, okay, that in itself is sexual harassment because they are unwelcome you never liked it, but because the person superior at the workplace, he or she wants to use that opportunity to take undue advantage over you. Are you getting it? So when it happens that way, you the worker, being employed by somebody is merely, a okay, it's a contract. That's why I say a contract of employment. So far as it's a contract is not binding forever and ever. One party in the contract can back out as and when the person deems necessary. You are not bound to a contract all the times. Are you getting it? So this Act 15 of the Labor Act is saying that if you the worker or the employee, you being employed, the employee, sorry, you the employee being employed by the employer is making sexual advances towards you, which is highly or not welcome, all right, you have the option to terminate that sort of employment based on the grounds of sexual harassment. So I deem it necessary to bring in this to show how, like how magnitude sexual harassment can take one to. So you don't have to sit in the work and say that yes, this is the only work I got to do, so I'm not gonna do anything about it. No, I getting it. And then Section 63 of the same act went ahead or go ahead to also talk about the grounds upon which unfair termination of will be done by the employer. Over here to do the employer. The first one has to do the employee. The third is talking about you the employer, okay, terminating it because the employer has made complaints about sexual harassment, time without number. The employer is supposed to make sure that the employee have a convenient environment to work at the workplace, refuses to take an action, okay, but dismiss this employee based on the fact that he's making several complaints concerning sexual harassment without hearing part of the employee, and then just go ahead to dismiss that employee on the basis that he has made complaints about sexual harassment at the workplace. Okay, so we can see from talking about employer, employee, or at the workplace, that is what to say that sexual harassment only happens at the workplace. All right, it can happen. It happens at the workplace. It happens at anywhere that Homo sapiens or human beings we find out to do one or more activities. So far as there is human connection, basically are going to experience this. Are you getting it? Yes. So I also made mention of the criminal code has provision on indecent assault, which includes sexual body contact with another person without the consent of the other person, or sexual violation of the body of that person in any manner not amounting to courage or unnatural knowledge. 103 of the Criminal Offences Act. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is that it doesn't have to do with you having sex. Are you getting it? It doesn't necessarily. It is not even sex with you from the word go, but it is the ad sex. Okay, somebody making sexual gestures to you, maybe through sexual messages, asking of your marital status, sex, all those stuffs, not the acts per se. I think you'll get to that point in your in your subsequent slides. So I brought in this section to the fact that sexual harassment is basically about unwelcome conduct or contact, okay, with the from the harasser to the victim. Are you getting it? Yes. So in the course of my presentation, I've already putting down my WhatsApp number. You can do a call in, also send your WhatsApp messages on that particular number. Constituting sexual harassment can be, all right. So some of the conduct that constitutes sexual harassment, include sexual harassment. Okay, unlike sexual offenses, Okay, I think that one is a topic on its own that I'm going to tackle in the coming days. Sexual offenses has to do with, this indecent assault, rape, defilement, and what have you. But when it comes to rape issues in Ghana, okay, it is gender bias. All right, gender bias in the sense that it is said that a lady or a woman cannot rape a man. So the rape is always done by a man. A woman cannot rape because of the element that one has to prove to show that this is a rape or not a rape. Are you getting it? But in the case of sexual harassment, the conduct that constitutes sexual is not like gender bias. It is inclusive of both male and then female. So the conduct may be from male to a female, which is, the most talked about one. It can also be from female to male. It is also the most talked about one, but I don't know. Most times the men, I don't know, they don't make complaints, or I just don't know. The complaints are more of, more of coming from the female side. I get it, yes. And then you have the male to male, okay, female to female. We have the supervisor to employee, okay, the supervisor to the employee. You have the employee to the supervisor, okay. You have the employee to employee. So all these persons, they can make sexual, advances, or unwelcome sexual advances to each other, which amounts to, sexual harassment. Basically, that's what I'm trying to postulate in this slide. Now, sexual harassment facts. All right. So in this case, there are certain facts that one will have to conjure or put together to build a strong case in order to buttress his or her point that, sexual harassment has really occurred in my situation or in my case. Okay, so some of these things that I've highlighted, these are some of the facts when it comes to one proving that there's indeed sexual harassment, or some of the factors one has to consider, okay, in the establishment of sexual harassment. So the victim as well as the harasser may be a woman or a man. So I've already said it's not gender bias. This one's both male and female, can be a sexual harasser or it. Okay. And then the harasser can be the victim's supervisor, an agent of the employer, a supervisor in another area, a co-worker, or a non-employee. Okay, so what I'm trying to postulate in this point or this slide is that the harasser can be the victim's supervisor. Okay, and let's put it this way: you're a national service personnel. Okay, you are being, posted at a particular office or in a company to, and when you reported, the CEO or the board assign it to one particular person. The person is your supervisor. The person have to be, making sure that your day-to-day activities conforms with what you are there to do. The supervisor can be your harasser. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say, because the boss of the company has deleted his powers that's supposed to take, like, used to supervise you, to this supervisor to do such a thing. So he's saying that the harasser can be the victim supervisor, agent of the employer, because in this we can say that, yes, the supervisor is an agent of the employer because the employer has given this supervisor a power, okay, to control you, the national service personnel, in the course of your business in the company. All right. And then a supervisor, it is even possible that the supervisor is not your supervisor per se. He or she is somebody in a different area, but you are in the same company, and he do pass by once a while or twice a day, so that person also is possible to be your harasser, okay, or a mm, it is not always the bosses, or a co-worker can also be, a harasser. Yes, co-worker, you go to work for the first time, then you meet this co-worker. You don't really know that he or she is a co-worker. The way he presents himself, you intimidate, like, you see the secretary or the managing director in this company, they will begin to make some gestures, sexual gestures to you and what have you. But later on, find out that they are also your co-worker, and then that's also amount to harassment. And then a non-employee, or so it doesn't necessarily always have to be that the person making the sexual advances unwelcome and then offensive to you must always be an employer, an employee. So anywhere you find yourself, anywhere you find yourself, in a so you are in an inferior position, it is likely to happen. But it also happens at arm's length level, where you all have same powers and what have you. So the victim does the person harassed, okay, but could be anyone affected by the offensive conduct. So over here, intention is immaterial. Okay, so if there's a third party, when you are sexually harassing, okay, you cannot say that, no, I didn't intend to harass you, I intended to harass this third person, not you. Because, conduct differs. The way I consider an act may not be the same, the same way a different person may conceive. So the victim does not have to be the person harassed, but could be anyone directly that affected, okay, directly affected, or anyone affected by the offensive conduct of the harasser. Are you getting it? Yeah. So this basically means that it is an indirect, affected person. This paragraph is somebody who is in fact, so the unlawful sexual of the victim. Okay, to always be, maybe when I harassed you, was there any form of economic injury? Have I caused any economic injury to your parents or anything? Okay, but it ought to be something that is unlawful and then sexual in nature, which is that to the victim. So unwelcome conduct under a protected basis must create, an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. So this one, always the conduct must be in such a way that you are working in a particular, group or syndicate. All right, a group or syndicate, and then this one person or one or two person intended or intends to bring himself or herself out towards you in a sexual manner, which is highly or which is unwelcomed. You don't like it, but the person keeps on making sexual gestures to you. That amounts to sexual harassment. Okay, the harasser's conduct must be unwelcome. So I've already stated this. So in all circumstances, you must say that the conduct that is perpetrated towards you, you never liked it. It was never welcomed. Okay, what is welcome is what the victim defines it. So you, the one doing the act, if the victims comes and say, oh, what you did amounted to, I don't like harassment, you're sexually harassing me, I don't like it. You cannot say that, oh, but what I just did is something normal. We live in a society where we intend to, some things in our daily lives, which is causing us a whole lot of things, Yes. So I'm always liable for harassment by a supervisor that results in tangible employment action. So an employer, you have power, you always have that mandate to make sure that there is a convenient working environment place. If you're managing a school, okay, you have to make sure that the school you're managing, people who adhere to administrative rules, okay, to the extent that they don't engage themselves harassing students, okay, because at the end of the day, you owe that duty to the victim to make sure that are you getting it. Yes, all of this, I mean, if put together, is what we consider as sexual harassment. This is just the beginning, and these are the facts that everybody must, be able to prove or associate his or her facts with, okay, to make a strong case. So, element to prove in sexual harassment. So, I've already mentioned of, it must be unwelcome. The sexual advances must be offensive, must be unwelcome, and then the harasser must be consistent in making such sexual advances. Okay, and also it must be based on membership in a protected class. I've spoken about this already. And then result in a tangible employment action or created a hostile work environment. The hostile work environment has to do with where an environment is created for you not to feel comfortable at the workplace because of, these advances, sexual advances which has been made to you. Okay. And then there is a legal basis upon which to hold the employer liable. So basically, there is always a legal basis to hold the employer liable, because if it has to do with employment, okay, the Labor Act talks about that. Okay, the Labor Commission, you have to go through administrative procedure. If so the company have to make a complaint, okay, they have the native proofs that you have to comply with. I'm sure each company or each institution will have their own administrative rules. If you exhaust that, you lodge a complaint at the national, you make an official for statement for investigation and what have you. Okay, and this one, that is the legal basis upon which to hold the employer liable. The employer owes you that duty of care to make the working place very safe and convenient for you to do your work. Now there are types of sexual harassment. Yes, there are types of, and these types of sexual harassment. You have two types of sexual harassment. The first one has to do with a quid pro quo. So it's a Latin word, quid. It's a Latin word which literally means that a form of sexual discrimination where a person implicitly or explicitly offers in exchange for sexual. Okay, so the person is saying that offer yourself, okay, offer yourself for um, in a form of sexual or sexual discrimination, and let me give you this position, or do this surely for me, and then I will not um 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 sack you from this company because you've already committed a crime and you're supposed to be sacked from the company. But you know what? Just do me a favor by offering me any form of offer in a sexual manner, and then I'll go this punishment that I should have meted out to you. This is the kind or the type of quid pro quo, sexual harassment that I'm talking about here. Okay, so it occurs when an employee is subjected to unwelcome sexual advances or requests for sexual favors by the supervisor, asking for hiring, promotion, or continued employment. Your employment contract or the contract for employment has expired or is about to uh, elapse. All right, and then the supervisor or the owner of the company says that, you know what, Mr. or Mrs. or brother or sister, contract supposed to elapse at this date, but you know what, yes, I'm going to extend it for you. You continue working, but there's this condition. So you have to offer yourself to me. Offers or have to offer yourself for sexual favors before I give you opportunity. Okay, so this is that's basically what the critical sexual harassment talks about, and this happens in our daily lives. It happens every day. Just that so are sometimes scared to report these issues because they are scared. At the end of the day, if they don't take action, how am I going to feel in the company? And that's the only work I I get for myself. Yes. So a typical example is a supervisor creates an employee or coerce sorry supervisor coerces an employee into sexual relationship and rewards this employee with a promotion. Okay, this is the type of it. That's the quid pro quo. Sexual harassment. Okay, so a supervisor coerces an into sexual relationship and then rewards that employee. Okay, a promotion. So this one is a sexual harassment, but it comes with a condition. Okay, you the receive you the receiver of this benefit must offer yourself to the person giving you this benefit. It's very sad, and people sometimes deem it necessary not to report because of how we have normalized certain country. And I think it's not helping us as a country. All right. So the second typical example has to do with a supervisor takes disciplinary action or deny because he or she rejected sexual advance, from the supervisor. So the first one has to do the positive one. The second has the negative or vice versa. Because the first one, if you offer yourself for sexual, intercourse or something like that, I'm going to let you in the company. All right. But the second, what you do it. If you don't, yes, then I'm not going to offer you any promotion. I'm not going to salary and what have you. These are some of the things that people do face day in and day out. But sometimes I don't know, they feel shy to report, or because things put in place when you make a complaint, it may not end in your favor because of some power play. It's so sad. Sometimes when I think about it, I just go mad. The last type of sexual harassment is the hostile environment. The hostile environment is basically to conduct or like a sexually oriented environment which is offensive to a reasonable person of the same gender as the individual subjected to the harassing conduct. So basically, this type of sexual harassment has to do with the fact that you, the employee, okay, the environment at which you work, all right, whether you being an employee or you being a student or you being any other person who found yourself engaging in doing one work or the other, you be situated in this situation. Okay, so a hostile environment is created in the sense that because you rejected or you opposed to some sexual advances which were made to you or which were advanced to you, the environment at which you work has now changed. So to make you feel very bad to subject yourself to sexual harassment or sexual advances or the offensive and persistent sexual advances made towards you, okay, for you to subject yourself to. So they have to make the environment very tacit, very rough for you, comfortable, and then do their work. So this is what the hostile environment talks about. That must be severe, persistent, and then pervasive to constitute a hostile environment. All right. So they continue. Making of the working place inconvenient. So anyone in place or in school may create a hostile work environment. So the supervisor, the co-worker, and the non-employee, I've already spoken about this. This all of these things amount to sexual harassment, and then the victim must be able to prove all of this. Okay, so typical examples when it comes to the hostile environment, where you subject yourself to sexes, and then the way they put you through so that you'll be able to subject to their will. The superiors will, the employers will, your co-workers will, depend on the kind of power the person has in the company. So now let's see the typical respect to the last type of sexual harassment, that the hostile environment. So the typical example, one of them, the may constitute evidence of a hostile environment are display pin-up or calendars or sexual demeaning pictures. Okay, so in this situation, because you have refused to subject yourself to of the harasser, making some indirectly other in the form of sending you pin-up or pin-ups displaying some kind of pictures or calendars or sexual demeaning pictures to you, so that emotionally you fall to their will. Okay, or if they don't do that, that thing they can do is making sexually oriented jokes or offensive remarks. Okay, so one way was also subject, making you fall a victim to be sexually harassed. If you refuse, they subject you to the hostile environment, and then they start making sexual, conversations with you, entered, jokes in a sexual manner, in order to grab you. Okay, and this happen in your daily lives. As I've already said, this is the presentation aspect of it. You have to look at it from the theoretical point of view. Let us understand it from the beginning, and then subsequent days to come, I'll be having people, okay, who are going to speak to it in a practical sense. Okay, how they experience it and how they to come out of it, or vice versa. And then the third one has to do with subjecting another employee to unwelcoming or unwelcome sexual advances or touching. Some touching, if you are somebody who works with a lot of people, you like touching people and what have you. Sometimes you have to be very careful, because some of these activities or some of these acts, okay, also amounts to sexual harassment, depending on where you find yourself. Okay, are you suspect to the person that you are doing such with? What is the level of influence you have on that person? Okay, you have to always consider yourself dealing with people in human activities, or people in a company or in a school where people are gathered, or a group of. Are you getting it? Yes. You have to also talk about the willingness. Somebody says that, but if I touch you, if I show you sexually oriented pictures, or if I show you sex jokes or videos and what have you, and you don't make any comment about it, then that means it is your will that I'm even doing that to you. Sometimes we see silence as a consent, but that is absolutely wrong. That is absolutely wrong. Okay, yes. A mere acquiescence or to complain does not mean the conduct was welcome. So if you make sexual harassment toward another person, okay, and the person doesn't, you cannot say that, but you were quiet when I made this. So based on that, that assertion is defective. Okay, so if you are to appear before any board or any committee at the workplace or in the school or any other place you find yourself, you'll be subjected to this rule, because the mere silence of somebody doesn't necessarily mean that the person have consented to such unwelcome, offensive, and persistent sexual advances. Are you getting it? Yes. defines what is welcome. I think I've already stated this. So what is welcome is actually defined. Okay, so the victim here has a lot of power to say that yes, what you did, I don't see it as sexual harassment. What you did, I see it as sexual harassment. Okay, as and when the person says that, you don't have any other power, because the one saying it says that no, this attitude or this act that you made towards me, I don't like it. And if you're doing it continuously, and then it is very towards me, and then it is unwelcome. All right. So to that extent, it amounts to sexual harassment. Note that intentions do not matter if a person feels harassed or humiliated. Okay, intention doesn't matter if the person feels harassed or humiliated. Okay, this one has to do with the fact that I didn't intend to do this, I didn't intend to harass you, I didn't intend to humiliate you. No, when it comes to sexual harassment, this intention is irrelevant. It is immaterial. So far as the person receiving that act says that no, it amounts to, like, I don't feel it, I don't like it, it is unwelcome to offensive towards me, it is making me feel unsafe at the workplace, or so it is making me feel unsafe at at this particular working environment, then it is highly possible the person has a case against you in sexual harassment. So sometimes we must be careful about how we do business with people in our daily lives or in our daily activities. So a third party even standing somewhere, you've not even made the act towards him or her, the person can also claim sexual harassment, because I've already established from the beginning that that person can also be referred to as the indirect, affected party. Okay, the third person you didn't make such act to, because actions, they are considered differently. So that's what I'm saying, that different people have different reactions to the same behavior and different interpretation. So you make it directly to party A, but party B, who is also at the scene within a reasonable proximity, can also feel it and say that no, what you're doing, I don't like it. Okay. And unwanted behaviors considered as forms of harassment. So unwanted sexual advances. Okay, these are all some of the behaviors that are considered as forms of harassment. So unwanted sexual advances, favors or promotions, um, retaliations, okay, visual conduct with pictures, cartoons, and whatever, as I've already mentioned. So you have to come and then show somebody a picture of maybe people having sexual intercourse and what have you. These are some of the things just to play with the mind and the conscience of the person to get him or her. So I'm using him or her because I've already also established that when it comes to sexual harassment, there is no discrimination. Both male and female can be the harasser, or can be the victim. Okay, they all play the same role. A male can be harassed, a female can be harassed. Okay, a male can be a victim, female can be a victim. Yes, so verbal or written abuse. Okay, you have the physical contact. Physical contact to do maybe touching. The touching, I made mention of the touching, and then oh, this, and then the verbal or the written abuse have to do. Oh wow, I like her lips. Your lips look sexy. So some of these words, these descriptions that we give to people, if you are not so close to the person, please just keep yourself, just distance yourself from this kind of word, because people consider statements how they understand it. You may see it as a normal joke or something just to compliment the person, but at the end of the day, you find yourself wanting the behaviors that constitute sexual harassment. So, unfulfilled threat to impose a sexual quid pro quo. The quid pro quo, I've already defined that is a condition which is laid down by the supervisor that please do this for me, okay, or offer yourself sexually so that I'll promote you in the company. Okay, offer yourself sexually, or I will deny you this promotion. Basically, that's what the quid pro quo, type of sexual harassment talks about, as opposed to the hostile environment. So discussing sexual activities. So some of these behaviors, the person, if you've already made advances towards the person, and the person never liked it. Here to employ a different strategy, okay, to involve the person in sexual um to involve the persons sexually, okay, so you can grab or you can play the mind of the person and then they get the person. These are some of the activities or some of the behaviors that amounts to sexual harassment. Okay, so discuss all activities with the person. Before you discuss it with the person, you have to know that, yeah, this person I'm discussing it with, he or she has it. Okay, if he intends or if it is shown that these discussions are unwelcome, then sexual harassment, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I share you because a chroma is cheaper, a chroma is share off. um and then telling of color jokes of sexual nature, unnecessary touching. This one, dear, sometimes people do a whole lot of touching. Oh, yeah, oh dear, school, this even among students. This one who will be a you, unless you've not seen anyone, you have to touch this person. Unnecessary touching can also amount to sexual harassment. Okay, if it is touched unnecessarily, persistently, or consistently, so let's be careful. Let's know who we touch and at what point can we touch it. Before you touch somebody, you have to seek for the person's consent. Okay, and then communicate our attributes. I've already explained this. Physical attributes in the sense that, oh, Charlie, wow. You don't even know the person. So if you know the person, oh, your hips, wow, I love your lips, wow, look at your boobs. Those kind of social, like physical attributes, it makes some of them feel uncomfortable, like it's normal, it's not good. You must put stop to it. If not, you also kind of people we do such with. And then using demanding appropriate terms such as stood, honey, sit, what they just want to be oh my sweet that honey. It's not everybody with these words, so we must be careful. Displaying sexuality pictures, using indecent gestures. Because of time, I'll have it up. Using gestures, engaging in out, granting job favors to those who participate in consensual sexual activity. So this one, because the person is to sexual activity or sexual advances, you give priority to persons over people who don't do such thing. Yes, is very bad. Sexual harassment is a very serious matter in Ghana. You don't see a lot of people talking about it, but it's happening day out. Maybe you've not faced it today, and that is why you must, enhance the education, okay, to prevent future, chaos. Because the time is coming that you'll be working a company and you will not be feeling comfortable. Being in that situation now, you may see it as normal, but it's never normal. So using crude languages and what have you, all these forms amounts to sexual harassment. Then out to do with the prevention, and then prevention, the question that arises at this juncture, how do you resolve the problem? So prevention is the best tool to eliminate sexual harassment in the workplace or in an entity, institution, or corporation. So prevention tools include anti-harassment policy. So every company must have this policy that if you harass party A, B, C, D, you must go to A, B, C, D, or you must be punished based on A, and C. Are you getting it? So there must be like paid and trained employees. Okay. So you must put in mechanisms or measures to educate and train employees in order to overcome these situations. All right. Monitor enforcement of anti-harassment policy. Haven't after you putting on this or putting in place this anti-harassment policy, you have to also, that's not the end of it. You have to also make sure that you monitor the enforcement of it. Passing a law in is something on its own, and for enforcement is also something. You can pass a law, if you don't enforce it, that law is useless. Are you getting it? Investigate allegations of sexual harassment. Haven't established a monitoring, I mean, mechanism. You have to assume that after you've monitored and captured people who are abusing the rule, you have to investigate allegations of sexual harassment and then let them face the consequences thereof. And then prevention. So protect individuals' confidentiality. Sometimes people don't want to report because if I report, at the end of the day, the policies may not necessarily require me to put down my name or to make it public because this is a confidential matter. It is possible you are going to lodge a complaint against the managing director of a very renowned company. That one is a very confidential. It's a confidential, information. So it must be between the victim and the one harassing it, and before the appropriate committee or body who's supposed to resolve the issue. It's not a public matter. Okay, so there must, like, we have to protect the individual's confidentiality. Okay, and then protect individuals against retaliation. Okay, sometimes it may end. It is possible that the harasser did it. Okay, but it may end in his or her favor that he did it because you have been unable to prove your case, and it happened that way. This person that you lodge a complaint against might have a very high position, might be in a very high position in the company. He or she may intend to take actions against you in the form of retaliation, maybe an eye for an eye. This is basically you have to do with the principle of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. No, so you took me to this committee to do blah 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 blah. Now that you didn't survive or succeed, I'm also going to do ABCD to you. Are you getting? That's the retaliation thing that I'm talking about here. Then you have to take a corrective action immediately. You, the victim, most of the time, you don't have to wait until things escalate before you intend to take action. Take it as soon as possible in order to prevent it. Because the more you do that, you are preventing future occurrences. You are preventing your brothers and sisters in different fields or who are also going to go through such campaigning. Okay, because if you don't report, the person will keep on doing such thing. Okay, to different kind of people. Are you getting it? Yes. The corrective measures to ensure that sexual harassment does not recur. Haven't controlled it. What do you have to put in place not to see such acts again? So oral or written warning, okay, or reprimand, transfer or reassignment of the harasser, or the demotion. Okay, so if engaged in AB, so this could be some of the punishment that the harasser have to go through. Okay, and then reduction of wages, suspension, okay, discharge, or maybe discharge you from your contract because you've engaged in sexual harassment that is against the policy of this company. So we are discharging you. Okay, and then training or counseling of harasser to ensure that he or she understands why his or her conduct violated the employer's anti-harassment policy. Okay, so I've made mention of the anti-harassment policy already. So having found this person, the harasser, guilty, okay, you can keep him or her in the company, but counsel him or her, okay, why they think she or he violated the rule and they should be subjected to this punishment. All right. The monitoring of harasser to ensure that harassment stops. Okay, so that you have to also go beyond that to monitor the person because sometimes they say saying that whether I need say nobody want to cry, no even on cloud to wait. As for the mad person, even if you're able to heal him, they still have some this type of tactics that you use to scare people on the street and what have you. Okay, so these things you have to take notice or note of it, and then our society will be a very safe and then suitable place to live in. Note that it is instructive to know that sexual harassment is not your fault. Okay, so you the victim, it is not your fault, but that is not to also say that it is not your fault. So if you go and then expose yourself, you're a female, you are in the company nowadays, you have this kind of, it's like a competition. No, let me try to myself with this boss so that I'll have much power or be well known in the company. If you go seduce, authorities, they will use you and that. Okay, at that circumstance, it may be your fault because if you seduce, even though the guilty in one way or the other, but the mere fact that sexual harassment is a reasonable care, not to subject or not to advances towards the spouse or the employer or for the co-worker to get that impression that no, this person likes me because of the sexual advances he or she has made to me. Are you getting it here? Sexual harassment, it's not about sex. I think I've already mentioned this. It's not about sex. It is about the activities that leads to sex. Oh, are you getting it? So that's how you may talk about the unwelcome and the persistent advances which are made to victims or a person as defined under section 175 of 2003, 651. Are you getting it? So it is about power at the end of the day. Okay, so it's about, I'm relating it more to the schooling aspect because and then workplace, because at the school we have seniors, we have persons in authority, you have the rank of the person, position that they hold. Okay, so and then it mostly happens at the workplace or employment and what have you. So basically that is um, 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 the instructive that one has to note when it comes to this, comes to play in all these situations. Yeah, power is to take. Say no clearly. Yeah. So some of the steps to take when sexual advances to you. So you have to aid than to keep to read from that quiet and say that yes, you like it. Okay. Saying no is the best option to prevent any inconvenient environment being created at the workplace. Okay, to say no to it, harassment. Documentation will also play the role of you making a complaint to the appropriate committee or body, okay, and for resolution. Contact the schools, the school or company's counselor. In every institution we have counselors who take charge of these sexual activities. All right, consult them, and this will be solved once and for all without escalating. All right, yes. So as I've already said, please you can share your opinion with me by calling this number that is displayed on the screen, or you can send your WhatsApp messages, or you can leave your comments under the comment section. I'm gonna read out. If it's a question, I'm gonna answer you. If it's a contribution, I'm gonna read it out. If it's a suggestion concerning the program, I'm just gonna take judicial. Thank you so much. I'm continuing. I'm just at the ending point of this presentation. All right. So the summary. All right. Yes. I'm just done. So the summary of all what I've it can be canvassed, okay, from the above submission that sexual harassment includes any action of a clear or potentially sexually motivated nature. All right. Words or actions will become sexually harassment if, okay, they are unwelcome to the recipient, okay, directly or even by linked to. So even if they are not directed to the recipient, indirectly, okay, you can stand by your third party to it. The actions can also pair intentions of what have been advanced. Okay, you can also claim, or you can also say that this is not correct and base it on sexual harassment principles. And then also employment, okay, form the basis of such decisions. So if you are sexually harassed, all right, on the principle of or on the responsible of maybe do this for me, surely offer yourself, and then I'll give you this or that. That will amount to sexual harassment. All right. Yes. Yes. And this we are going back to the quid pro quo, or type of that I made mention of in my previous slide. All right. So, um, without wasting much time, I think this is how far the Lord has brought us, and this will be the end for today's um um discussion. All right. Yes, this will be the end for the discussion, but I like to leave yeah, this will be the end. I just leave this number, my WhatsApp number. You can call, or you can send any message, so suggest concerning the presentation that I've just made. But it's fast paint, enough my. So I would like to end it here. I do thank you so much for joining me in this section. We're into this together, we're into this together, and I do appreciate everything. I do appreciate everything. God bless you all. And if you've not liked my my YouTube channel, please go and subscribe now. Go and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you'll be keep updated on some of my videos that I do post over there. All right. Yes. Like somebody have sent a message. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, okay. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, family, much for your time. I thank you much for your time, and then thank you so much for making time. It's making a date with me. This has been so successful, all because of everything. This is just the theoretical aspect of it. In the coming days, as I've already said, you'll be having the practical aspect of it, where you know, um, like victims or people have gone through this, thinking that's true, how they through it, and then how they overcome it. You have to help this together. For all of you, for those of you who have been showing me support, who have been sending me messaging, and then advising me on doing. I do appreciate your effort. Okay. So the English people will say that thank you so much for having me. All right, thank you so much for coming through. Thank you so much for watching me. You have do several things, but you decided to watch me. Thank you so much. And then the Latin, or some people say, yeah, gracias TB. Faka, as my own people say, medase. So as my time the people say, Selka, just so bank and then my Rwanda friend, Murakuze. Thank you. This means thank you. And then my Tanzanian, friend Rosemary will say, Asante Sana. Thank you so much for have a wonderful evening. God bless you. Good night. Bye bye.